The following video is for mature audiences. Viewer discretion is advised. To-do list for retirement go years. Break into Brad Pitt's mansion. Get pleasure from watching him. Video him and sell videos to TMZ. Get rich and powerful. Get even more pleasure from being rich and powerful. Freeze frame! What the...
Yeah, here's an obsession everybody understands. Brad Pitt.
Problem with this plan. I will get caught and punished, so I won't get much pleasure, wealth, or power out of trying this. When the news gets out that I did this, others will know I am unjust because they will know I disregarded Brad Pitt's right to privacy. Instead of admiring me and giving me the attention I want, they'll shun me and say I'm a bad person. But what if I could get around the law and the worry that other people would think I'm a bad person or unjust? What if I had a cloak of invisibility? Yes, if I had a cloak of invisibility, I could get on Brad Pitt's premises undetected. I could take my pictures and sell them and get paid for them anonymously. No one would have to know that it was me, Chris McCord, who was taking all these intimate pictures of Brad Pitt without his knowledge. I wouldn't be just, but I would get all the advantages that come from being unjust. Money, power, pleasure. We now join Plato's Republic, already in progress.
Because I want to know in which of the three classes you would place justice. In the highest class, I replied, among those goods which he who would be happy desires both for their own sake and for the sake of their results. Then the many are of another mind. They think the justice is to be reckoned in the troublesome class, among goods which are to be pursued for the sake of rewards and of reputation, but in themselves are disagreeable and rather to be avoided. I know, I said, that this is their manner of thinking, and that this was the thesis which Thrasymachus was maintaining just now, when he censured justice and praised injustice. But I am too stupid to be convinced by him.
Thrasymachus is a sophist who believes it is better to be unjust, but trick others into thinking you are just. That is because if you are truly just, you will have a harder time getting good things like pleasure, wealth, fame, and power. Now Glaucon, the brother of Plato, is going to try his hand at defending the thesis that injustice is the good.
They say that to do injustice is by nature good, to suffer injustice evil, but that the evil is greater than the good. And so when men have both done and suffered injustice, and have had experience of both, not being able to avoid the one and obtain the other, they think that they had better agree among themselves to have neither. Hence there arise laws and mutual covenants, and that which is ordained by law is termed by them lawful and just. Thus they affirm to be the origin and nature of justice. It is a mean or compromise between the best of all, which is to do injustice and not be punished, and the worst of all, which is to suffer injustice without the power of retaliation.
The many and Thrasymachus believe that to be unjust but have people believe you are just is better than actually being just. The best thing would be if I could do injustice and get away with it. The worst thing is to have injustice done to me. So the compromise is, well, let's have laws and regulations so that I can't do injustice, unfortunately, but I at least won't have injustice done to me.
And justice, being at a middle point between the two, is tolerated not as a good, but as the lesser evil, and honoured by reason of the inability of men to do injustice. For no man who is worthy to be called a man would ever submit to such an agreement if he were able to resist. He would be mad if he did. Such is the received account, Socrates, of the nature and origin of justice. Now that those who practice justice do so involuntarily, and because they have not the power to be unjust, will best appear if we imagine something of this kind. Having given both to the just and the unjust power to do what they will, let us watch and see whither desire will lead them. Then we shall discover in the very act the just and unjust man to be proceeding along the same road, following their interests, which all natures deem to be their good, and are only diverted into the path of justice by the force of law. The liberty which we are supposing may be most completely given to them in the form of such a power as is said to have been possessed by Gyges.
Well, this is crazy, but I looked it up on eBay, and sure enough, it is for sale, the original ancient Greek Ring of Gajes, and it seems like it still works. I see the seller is Fred P. Gyges. I wonder if he's a descendant of the original Gyges. But anyway, I'm reading the item description from the seller. It says, in Plato's Republic, Plato's brother Glaucon reveals a worry he has. Suppose you have two invisibility rings. Give one ring of Gyges to the most moral person you know, a Mother Teresa, John Avery Whittaker type, and give the other to the most immoral person you know. Glaucon worries that in time they will both come to the same point. They'll both behave the same way, both be unjust because they can get away with it.
The ancestor of Croesus the Lydian. According to the tradition, Gyges was a shepherd in the service of the king of Lydia. There was a great storm, and an earthquake made an opening in the earth at the place where he was feeding his flock. Amazed at the sight, he descended into the opening, where, among other marvels, he beheld a hollow brazen horse, having doors, at which he, stooping and looking in, saw a dead body of stature, as appeared to him, more than human, and having nothing on but a gold ring. This he took from the finger of the dead, and reascended. Now the shepherds met together, according to custom, that they might send their monthly report about the flocks to the king. Into their assembly he came, having the ring on his finger, and as he was sitting among them, he chanced to turn the collet of the ring inside his hand, when instantly he became invisible to the rest of the company, and they began to speak of him as if he were no longer present. He was astonished at this, and again touching the ring, he turned the collet outwards and reappeared. He made several trials of the ring, and always with the same result. When he turned the collet inwards, he became invisible. When outwards, he reappeared. Whereupon he contrived to be chosen one of the messengers who was sent to the court, whereas, soon as he arrived, he seduced the queen, and with her help conspired against the king, and slew him, and took the kingdom. Suppose now that there were two such magic rings, and the just put on one of them, and the unjust the other. No man can be imagined to be of such an iron nature that he would stand fast in justice. No man would keep his hands off what was not his own, when he could safely take what he liked out of the market, or go into houses and lie with any one at his pleasure, or kill or release from prison whom he would, and in all respects be like God among men.
This is a rare depiction of Gyges, and one reason artists did not like to paint Gyges was because he was invisible so much of the time. So this artist was smart because he painted Gyges right as he found the ring, and then as he was showing it to the other shepherds and to the two maidens on the left. You see him finding the ring in the bronze horse on your left, and then to the right he's looking at the ring. He's thinking, this is a strange ring. And up in the sky you see Zeus thinking, oh no, he's found the ring of Gyges. Well, so this is painted, it was painted in the city of Ferrara, Italy, and the painting is anonymous, but it was painted in the 1600s. But anyway, kind of neat to see Gyges discovering the ring here. Whoa, you're the king of Lydia. Whoa, you've got the invisibility ring. Okay, so you're Gyges. That actually is impressive.
Then the actions of the just would be as the actions of the unjust. They would both come at last to the same point. And this we may truly affirm to be a great proof that a man is just, not willingly, or because he thinks that justice is any good to him individually, but of necessity. For wherever any one thinks that he can safely be unjust, there he is unjust. For all men believe in their hearts that injustice is far more profitable to the individual than justice, and he who argues, as I have been supposing, will say that they are right. If you could imagine anyone obtaining this power of becoming invisible, and never doing any wrong or touching what was another's, he would be thought by the lookers-on to be a most wretched idiot, although they would praise him to one another's faces, and keep up appearances with one another from a fear that they too might suffer injustice. Enough of this.
Acting justly is something you have to do because if you don't, then the law will punish you. But it would be better if you could appear to be just while getting all the riches and pleasure you can by being unjust. So what would you do with the Ring of Gajes? Remain just or become unjust? Plato thinks it's better to be just than unjust. But if you can get more wealth, power, and pleasure from only seeming to be just, why does he think this? Enough of this. You killed the king and seduced the queen.